Okay, what I want us to do now is take a look at what happens when we're comparing numbers that are written in different units. Up to now, when we've done ratios, all of our numbers have been written in the same units. And so we've compared, the number of boys to girls, or the number of red M&Ms to blue M&Ms, or something like that. But here's the thing about ratios. Ratios are how we compare numbers written in the same unit. But this presents a problem because look at this scenario. We have two different metal rods, and we know that rod A is 20 centimeters long and rod B is 1 meter long. Now, taking what I know about centimeters and meters, I actually recognize that 20 centimeters is less than 1 meter because a meter has 100 centimeters. And so if I were going to draw it in a bar model, it may look something like this, where I would have rod A, and we'll make it the shorter of the two. And then rod B, which is a meter, we'll make it the longer. And so we'll call A 20 centimeters. And we'll call A 1 meter. Bear with me with my handwriting. It's pretty bad normally, but I'm doing this at home and I don't have my stylus with me, so it may be a little worse than normal. So here's what we have. We can see that A is shorter than B. But if I just put these numbers in a ratio, and I want to do the ratio of rod B to rod A, I might try to call this 1 to 20. But that can't make sense, right? Because 1 is less than 20, and so we know it can't be a 1 to 20 ratio. B has to be bigger. And I want you to take a moment to think about what might be the solution to being able to compare rod B, which is 1 meter, with rod A, which is 20 centimeters. By now, I hope you've paused the video if you needed to think of what it might be, but I think a lot of us probably already know the solution. We recognize that there's more than one way to say these lengths, and so the easiest way to do this is actually to say, well, what if they were both centimeters? And so some of you probably went ahead and said, well, let's change 1 meter to 100 centimeters, since they're the same thing. Usually we go with the smaller unit because we can make whole numbers out of it. And we see here that A is less than B, and that it would be more like a 100 to 20 ratio. And in fact, you've probably recognized that 100 divided by 20 is 5, right? We can have 5 units of 20 centimeters each. And now A and B are divided into the same units. It's easy to find a ratio. There's a few ways of talking about this. We can say that rod B is 5 times as long as rod A, or we could say the ratio of rod B is 5 to 1 when compared with A. Or if somebody said, what is the length of rod A to B, then we recognize that would actually just be the reciprocal of 5 to 1. It would be 1 to 5. Or we could even say, it's not written here, that rod A is 1/5 as long as rod B. And so that's how we compare when they're in different units of measurement.